You guys all go outside and play. He says, Laura, I'd rather they stayed in the house. I said, Fred, are we going to go through that again? No. You do not embarrass me bringing your children over here. No, at all. No. He was really a good, and they were very close. Now, his husband and wife too. And so I said, are we going to go through that again? And he says, well, I would rather they stayed in. I said, you don't embarrass me at all. We've been friends for so many years now. So anyway, I said, okay, if you want the kids to stay in, they can stay in and play with the other toys in the house now. And that's the way we were now. And besides, on submarines, when you have things, there is no officers and there's no enlisted men on submarines. In those days, there wasn't. You know what I mean? There's not, that line isn't drawn between them. Troy, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
You're all so close together, you can't maintain the distinction between the classes.
If we have a party and all, like that, everybody on the submarine was invited. Do you know now what I'm talking about? Or now, and that's why we liked submarines so well now. And the guys that worked with him just seemed to look up to him for everything now. And we just had to really make ourselves go to bed because I don't think we ever really argued. We would talk something out if we didn't agree on something, or we would keep talking it out until we found a solution for it now, which is a lot of people don't. They start hitting each other, shooting each other, and everything else nowadays now. I mean, you know what I mean. And like I said, it's like we always could read each other's minds just about. Another time, I was talking about on reading our minds. We were up there after he got out of service, we went up to Squaw Valley up in California, where they had 1960 Winter Olympics, and we had he became chief engineer. This is after he got out of service for the state of California up there, where they had all those buildings for the Olympics and all. And so he had the job. He got the job there of working for the state of California, and so we were going to go out and have supper at one of these casino places. Back in those days, you had Lake Tahoe here, and you had the bottom part, as they called it, and this was the top part. And then there's a line there that drew it. That other part was a Nevada part.
I've been there.
Okay. The top part back in those days, they closed during the winter now. So it was getting springtime, and they opened it up and was having a dinner for us, and the proceeds was going to the hospital in Truckee, to the hospital there. So anyway, I used up all of my 2 rolls of nickels back in those days. I could play for an hour on the nickels, on the slot machines. So anyway, we were standing there talking, and I looked at that machine, and it showed like a jackpot on it, and it was a 50-cent machine. So I said, Lee, look at that machine. I said, I wonder why that machine's not ringing now. And he says, I don't know. He says, ask the lady. So one of the cocktail waitresses, you know, in it. And so I brought her over there, and I asked her, I said, that machine is showing a jackpot on it, but it's not ringing. She says, oh, they may not have all of these connected up yet, because, like I said, they had not originally opened for the spring yet. We were going to have a dinner there that night, and then after that they were opening up the place for the next week for good. And so they let us have our dinner there, you know, before they originally opened opened it up for the springtime. And now they stay open all the time. You know what I mean up there. But anyway, I told her. I said. She says. Well, it may not be connected yet. And I says, well, now look, I didn't play that machine or anything. I was just wondering why it didn't ring, showing a jackpot, you know. So, anyway, I said, you know, I wasn't playing it or anything. And she says, well, you may have hit a jackpot now. And it was a 50-cent machine, too, see. And so she says, let me go ask my supervisor. Now, and she come back and she says, he says that I can't pay you what of the 50-cent pieces that would come out of it, but what's left of it I can pay you in cash. Now, and I said, now I did not play that machine, lady, you know. And she says, well, no, he says to pay you. Now, and I think we got about, close to $50 now. And so anyway, what I'm trying to get at was, she handed me the money, and I was standing there, and I looked up at Lee. He looked at me, and I didn't have to say anything, because I turned around and I gave her $10. Now, I didn't have to say, is it okay if I, you know, give her some money for that, Lee, or something like that. That's the way we were. We just, our minds went together like that. Now. And we had enough then to go home and pay the babysitter and have money left over in those days. Now.
My goodness. But it's, I guess, just amazing to us that you felt so quickly, so soon, that Grandpa was the one for you.
Well, look, to me, marriage is, it can be, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Now. It's got to be how you feel about each other and everything, to me, because I could have gambled wrong, if we want to put it that way, you know what I mean. But it just, I don't know, it just seemed right. Now, I don't know how you explain it or anything now, but because the odd part of it is we never really argued over anything. We talked it out. We may have gone to bed without solving the solution now. Like, well, were the kids going to get new skis that year or not? And maybe I said, no, they don't need them, and he thought maybe they did. Well, we had to work that out. You know what I mean? Do they really need them? And talk that out. Things like that. It just, only one time he really made me disgusted. We had and I mean disgusted. We were having a dinner or something in one of those empty buildings there after the Olympics had left. And for the forestry and the ones that worked there, we had dinner that night. And so one of the guys that was working under him, he come by and he says, you want me to pick you guys up in a little while? Because the building was here and our house was over here. And the snow was about 2 feet deep. And it kind of went down that way in that road. And so he told that, I don't remember the guy's name, he told him, he says, no, don't come back for us. We'll just walk down there. And I says, what do you mean telling him not to come back? Because I couldn't walk that good, especially in the snow. And it's slanting down, too. My feet would have gone out from under me. And he had a little too much to drink that night. So, anyway, we got in the, it was just an old building that the skiers used to come in and change their clothes during the Olympics, and they had a bathroom in there. And, it was just one big room, and so rather than having to pay $600-700 for a home there in Tahoe, now the state let us move into that room, and I petitioned it off with these things that you can hang your clothes on, and I put a sheet over it, you know, even with our 4 kids.